Yeah, he can see you. He can see all the three of them.
Hi. I think we're finally ready to start. So my name's Rose Lord. I'm one of the partners at the gallery, and I just want to say welcome. Thank you for coming to the New York launch of Arabesque, Dara Birnbaum's Arabesque. I'll do a few brief introductions in a sec, but they're going to talk for about 45 minutes, and then we'll open the floor up to questions if anyone wants to ask something. And just a few housekeeping notes in the meantime. If you need to leave for some reason, the elevator there will take you down to 56th Street. And if you need the bathroom, there's bathrooms along the corridor for you. Okay, so I'll start with the intros. First up, Dara Birnbaum. So Dara is a New York-based artist who is heralded for her mastery of video installation and for manipulation of television footage. She received a Bachelor of Architecture degree from Carnegie Mellon University, Pittsburgh, a BFA in painting from the San Francisco Art Institute, and a certificate in video and electronic editing at the Video Studies Center at the New School for Social Research, New York. Birnbaum's pioneering video, media, and installation work has, over the past 4 decades, addressed the ideological and the aesthetic character of mass media imagery, making it fundamental to our understanding of the history of media art. Later this year, Dara will open 2 major survey exhibitions, the retrospective Reaction at the Hessel Museum at Bard College in Annandale-on-Hudson, New York, starts on 25th of June, and Journey at the Miller ICA at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, which starts on 19th of August. There's a fantastic book to accompany both exhibitions, and her work's currently on show in From Moment to Movement, Picturing Protest in the Kramlich Collection at the Manetti Shrem Museum at the University of California, Davis. Barbara London is a New York-based curator and writer who founded the Video Media Exhibition and Collections program at the Museum of Modern Art, where she worked between 1973 and 2013. Her recent projects include the podcast, Barbara London Calling, the book Video Art, The First 50 Years, published by Phaidon, and the exhibition Seeing Sound with ICI, which is touring till 2026. Valentino CATRICALA is joining us from Manchester on Zoom, on the screen. Is a scholar and contemporary art curator. He's currently the curator of Soda Gallery in Manchester and lecturer at Manchester Metropolitan University. He's also the director of the art section of the Maker Faire, the European edition at Paris Sony CS Lab. And last but not least, Salvatore Giorgio DINO is the CEO of the ORO Collection Publishing House, founded in the 2000s. He revamped the business which his family had originally established in 1965 with the firm intention of ensuring its continuity. The ORO Collection Publishing House has its HQ and renowned artisan workshops along Via Appia Antica in the very heart of Rome, where deep historical roots still imbue and influence the creation of the books. And now I'm going to pass over to Barbara to start us off. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rose, for the introduction. I'm going to push this back a little bit. And thank you, everybody, for coming. I know many in the audience, and I appreciate, and maybe many new friends. Thank you. So it's a great honor to participate in this quite celebratory launch of the book that Dara has done. It's in the room over there if you haven't seen it. It's, she continues always to amaze me for her ingenuity, her sagacity, and her collegiality. She's a great, great friend. I've known her for quite a few decades. Over the last 2 years, I've worked with three phenomenal colleagues, and in particular Dara. And I appreciate Salvatore Giorgio DINO because he had the vision to create this video book and did all of the technical research and worked with his incredible craftspeople to make this gorgeous book come to life. And also there's Valentino CURATORS, who's over there on screen, who is the third part of a four-part collaboration. So it's Valentino and I have worked closely together on this with Dara and Salvatore. So I'll just say I love video, and of course I love books. So what could be better than this remarkable marriage of these two forms that come together? And here we have the book, which normally is this tangible object. And then you've got the object with the elusive, intangible moving image. So I look forward to the conversation as it unfolds. The order is going to be Valentino will talk a little bit about how he and Salvatore spoke and came up with realizing the project, and they brought me along. And then Salvatore will speak about his ingenuity in coming up with this idea. And then Dara will say a few words. So Dara always has great words. So let's go to Valentino.
So thank you, Barbara. And it's a real shame for me to not be with you, I had been waiting for this moment for long, but anyway, I've been blocking here in Manchester, for something to do, and it's gonna be next time anyway. But I'm very happy because I can't believe we are doing this talk, because we started this project in the middle, right in the middle of the pandemic, the international pandemic, and we're still in the pandemic, but it was just right in the beginning, and I met Salvatore by chance, because I was in Rome in that period, and I didn't either know that could exist a publisher, or how can we call him? I don't know, like him, and then he invited me in his a small house in Viappa, and Viappia. No, actually, it's a huge villa in Viappa. It's a really amazing place, and in which I really see what was doing as a publisher, and then quite, for me was very, as I said, really didn't really know that the publisher like that could exist actually. No, it was very unique, and actually, everything made by hand, Salvatore is going to explain it much better than me. At a certain point, he show up, and say, I was thinking to do this, and then he opened, this big book, incredible book, and it was a prototype of, with a video inside, and the video started to run, before opening up the book, and then I said, oh, wow, this is amazing, it wasn't as good as the one you can see now in the next room, but because it was a prototype, but it was quite amazing. And suddenly I understood that it was an unique project because it's a way to link, the electronic technology with the highest level of bookmaking craftsmanship, with the groundbreaking video art, and which was, trying to imagine how can you unite, the ancient, techniques for craftsmanship, and bookmaking with, something very, let's say, advanced, like a technology, like a video, in fact, I must say that I'm happy to say that it's a real unique project, and so at that point, there wasn't, there weren't no other solution than, conducting, Barbara London, that for my generation has been, like one of, the most important curator and scholar around video art. And I'm very happy to work with her on this project. And of course, Dara Birnbaum. Dara represents for me and my generation, a very enlightened, new generations. And we all studied Dara's work. So I met Dara when I was in New York, and also Barbara, of course, thanks to a common friend, Asher, that I think that is in this room. And I met Dara when I was in New York, and we had a very good and long conversation. And I really understand the importance of starting with Dara. We both, me and Barbara, felt that Dara was the right artist to start with this project, and we are very happy that she has accepted. And I'm very happy that we are doing this. And just a little thing also, when I say that I can't believe we are doing this, because it has been a long process, organize all of this, organizing this book, making this book, and unite all the dots, as we say in Italian. And, thanks to the support of Marian Goodman Gallery, we're also here. So I'm happy and hope that there is going to be much more chance in the future to develop, further project, with Salvatore, Barbara, and the rest of the team.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, first, you can hear from my accent that I'm very Italian. So, thank you for coming here. And thank you for Barbara for your special word, and Valentino for the introduction. We live in a technological era where we are producing culture, but still culture, still the way to preserve this culture, it's very fragile. For instance, this communication, even if we put the most effort in the things, it don't get like something well written and well preserved. And we are producing culture. If you make a picture with your phone, we are producing, this is culture, but we still didn't have found a way to preserve this culture to carry on to the future. Because, for instance, my phone will be obsolete in a few years, or maybe a CD will, the information that we put in a CD, it's going to expire after 20 or 30 years. So we produce culture, but we still didn't find a way to preserve this culture. And this thought, this was at the base of this company that I founded 22 years ago, how to make something able to preserve the information and able to carry on to the future. And I decided to devote myself in this research and to bring back something that was already in our soul, already everywhere, like books. And I am a publisher, and ORO is one of the few publishing houses in all the world that still produce everything by hand. From the paper production, for the cover, for the book binding, for the paper, everything follow the most authentic way to making a book. Just for able to make this book able to stand the test of time and to preserve the information that I've written inside. The material, the gold, the book binder, the printer, the sculpture, all these people, they work as a family in Rome, are 50 people, hand-making books without one single computer. And they are doing all this for transform this object in a jewel box that should carry on the real treasure, the information that I've written inside. For this reason, I have a company that make handmade books, and we write just new edition, new stuff, new things, story that was ever been written inside. Of course, we use the best material because we know that these things are able to last. We use gold because it's in all museums there are gold that last. We use cotton paper made by hand in our headquarters because we use the same way to make the paper as it was, because This is a technology that lasts 400 years. So we are bringing back this old soul to making book able to remain in the time. So in my work, my daily job, it's a balance between the oldest way to do some things and the modern way to achieve this. So putting together new story, new things, new design, and to try to do always something between old and future together. And I always dream about making a transcendental book able to communicate to any kind of person, to talk to the soul to any kind of person without the limitation of the world and the barrier of the language or the culture, where you are. And I knew in my heart that art could be the key for achieve this goal, for achieve this challenge. And the first digital art book, handmade in the world, it's a challenge that only my company could achieve, but this is some part of the project. So the gold, the leather are making to preserve what is the real important things here. And the real important things, it's the soul that Dara put inside. So this book is making for preserving some things and to carry on some things. And it's Dara's work that she devotes herself or her life. This it's a handmade digital art book. It's made for preserve Dara and to carry on her soul and to let her communicate to the next generation in a way she wanted. And we try as much forever. We try at least. And the last step of this journey is here, right, with all of you, because this is the arriving of the reaching of a goal started 22 years ago, and now finally I'm here with Dara next to each other, talking about after the COVID and after all this challenge, because we still can do things by hand and still can do things able to preserve what is important. And I want to thank you really, Dara, because she's a pioneer, and it's in the same balance of between being a vintage soul and with a futuristic mind, no? And we are both perfectionists, so we find in the right mix for making something so special. I want to bring contemporary art in a new way, and this is what we are here now to show you off. And thank you to all of you for coming here. And please, Dara, if you want to continue.
Hi. This is my first time out in 2 years. Well, only these people could get me out in the gallery. Quite amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this project. You too. Way in Manchester, you too. I am going to try to tell a very short story and avoid a name. I think the person would want me to. I love everyone in this gallery, to be honest with you. And we were talking by phone, a good friend, and saying about the war, one of the current wars, of the invasion of the Ukraine. What can we do? I gave some money. I don't have much. But you, Dara, you have a voice. And that really kicked my ass, to be honest. What a strange time we're living through. How difficult. And we were talking earlier about fate. How wonderful and fated that we come together, not knowing, I know Barbara a long time ago, but not knowing each other before, and try to formulate something of importance, but something that lasts. How can things last in the type of culture we're producing? All my digital video friends are running to NFT. Me, I am getting older, so I didn't even start walking there yet. And they're teasing me a little bit. Oh, you do a retro book, this, you know, they're downloading whatever they can for whatever Bitcoin they can. For me, I lived a year in Italy, and I was amazed by an eternal sense that can exist in some countries, say in Rome. What is eternal, and why do we want to leave something behind? And what is our culture, and what do we want to leave behind? And I was honored to be asked, and I wondered, as an artist, do you do this now? You've worked long enough, you can have a choice of what you do. And it became a challenge, maybe a little. What video fits in the book?
A bigger challenge.
A bigger challenge. It sounds better in Italian when you say it, by the way. A bigger challenge to be in the more tradition, of a book and insert the technology. Does that still have a heart? And how do you bring that heart together, and how do you say something? And one of the works that I did, supported by the Marion Goodman Gallery of Arabesque, meant a lot to me. We won't go into it too much, you know, with the Schumanns and how a woman can exist with a man, etc. But I was very taken by this, and you see it in the book as it talks to you. And its speech is not words, I hope it's feelings, emotions, visions, and music, which is our universal language. And I just want to say, as a challenge, that each of us understands that I feel we need to do our best going forward into a world that is filled with problems, and how to bring the best of art and culture to people. And when I lived in Italy, I told you, I would eat in one restaurant, home cooking, every day. When the craftspeople came in to eat there, it was a cheap restaurant, I didn't have much money. When the craftspeople came in, everyone rose up from their seat. Oh, professore, professore. Because it was so honored what they were doing. And I love this combination right now. That for now, for me, let's see how we have what I call a theater of the book. To me, it's a theater of the book. Maybe not a book you're going to take into bed with you, no? It's a little big. But it opens, and as Salvatore said, he wanted magic, and I tried my best to adapt Arabesque to a magic. And this is the first time I'm seeing my child in there. And I like it. I like it very much. I would love questions, and say how much everyone means to me right now, getting older. There's something about humanity that needs to be resurrected. And I think that these kind of projects, for people perfectionists, It's a good time to get together, no?
It's true.
And try to give our heart and soul back to culture, to the culture of civilization as it is. So, thank you.
Well, it's a huge, it's a big project. It's a beautiful one. And it was a challenge, I know. Normally we think of video as horizontal. And here, this is a beautifully handcrafted screen. Salvatore was telling us that he really created all of the inner working with a team in his atelier. And it's so magical. You have this gorgeous book, you open it, and the video starts. So, how did you start, Dara? Because you were pulling ideas and information that you had worked horizontally, and you were making it vertical. Mm-hmm. Was that a big challenge?
I've had worse challenges in my life, actually.
So it's very
there's good challenges. So why not sharpen your brain and figure out how to make a square, peg fit in a round hole kind of thing, The challenge is, can these parts that were part of an installation originally, and then, thank God, Art Basel came in with a commission to do a single channel work for projection outdoors, and I was there. That was fantastic, actually, on the hall at the Symphony Hall. And then all of a sudden, you want to put it in the book is not, it's going to fight you. It's vertical. So the challenge is, how do you make these images fit? How do you make them fit? And do you want them to fit? And how much do you want it to be the original piece? And do they work? Do they work? And we're bright people. We send rockets to different planets. So, yeah, I could make it vertical. No problem. But the thing is, actually, I like it vertical in there. I think the pieces fit well. And I dropped in a backdrop. I think that's part of my architecture in a weird way, to match the interior. So the cover is extended around, it embraces it. The notes are the real notes of the Song of Arabesque being played. The women, actually, the gallery went through YouTube to find them and get permission. Me, I'm an appropriator for a long time. So every decade they change what that means, she fucking stole these images, Well, we didn't. We actually have permission. But it was on YouTube. Boy, how many women trying to play Arabesque, written by Schumann. And it was his wife who introduced him into the music circle scene. And Clara Schumann also was also a composer, quite a good composer. And here you get to see both. You see a selection of the number of women playing for the man's piece. And at that time, I could only find one woman, on YouTube, playing Clara Schumann. I think it's more now. So anyway, this is the heart and soul. And then I've never been good at jigsaw puzzles. Actually, I have no patience. But this one came together nice. Yeah?
It did.
So I hope I'm not making too much fun of it. Isn't it lovely to be creative? And always to ask yourself the question, why? Why should I make this vertical? Yeah. Why should I enter a book when everyone's running for billions of dollars for NFTs? And I tell you, I love it. I love it.
Good. Yeah. So we have a lot of smart people in the audience, I know. Anybody have a question for Dara?
Can I ask something?
Oh, yeah, yeah, Sir Valentino.
From
Look over here.
the big brother, you know. And no, just I want to ask Salvatore if he can, or Dara, you know, if he can tell us something about the cover and the techniques you use, because I think that is relevant, you know. I mean, the cover of the book as well.
Yes. The importance of the cover, how one introduces an image. This is one of the young women who is playing, and this is a still, and we worked on it with various Photoshop and other techniques to embrace, let it be an iconic cover with gold, and not fight that. My greatest compliment, to be honest with you, is I used this image for an announcement of Arabesque originally. I just felt for it. And I re-met Gerhard Richter, whom I had known when I was young. But Buchloh reintroduced us in England, where you are. We were reintroduced in England, in London. And Benjamin said, remember Dara. Yeah. He said, it's the image of that woman you have on your wall, Gerhard, at home. And he had this image hanging up. It is an invitation, no? A book cover. And, you know, most book covers commercially are designed to sell, but besides selling, it's a very meaningful image to me. It's I don't know why. It reads very deep for me, you know. It's an iconographic image, yeah. I don't know.
It's a great cover because then you're intrigued to want it to have the beauty of also inside. So, yeah.
If I may add, just so, because now you will see this book on a stage, but actually, this book is made like a real book. There is no cable, nothing. It's a book that you put in your library, and it's like between all your other books. And in the moment you touch it, it's very low technology because we want to do something that lasts and remain. It's a gold, it's a leather spine, it's true paper, it's gold. He has 3 covers just for find like a kind of stage able to stand up. And when you touch it, it became alive. There is no bottom to touch. There is nothing, no way to interact. It's like the lowest technology as possible for just like you get touched by this soul. So this book, it's magic because the problem of digital art is like how to give you the pieces. You have to take a screen, you have to take something, but actually this is a real book with something preserved inside, a soul that it's like embedded together. And you cannot interact with the screen, the things. If you want to see it, you open the cover, like it was when we was children and reading a book and imagine the story that was inside, no? So it's like our children dream books, if I can say, something that speak to you like in a very different way. How should speak any kind of book from when we was children? And when we start this project, it started 5 years ago, we started with this idea in mind, to make it simple, as easy as possible, and we know it's something that it's all embedded together. And if you've broken, it just lost the soul, you lost the things inside. And it's a way to get all together. The book is making, say, 6 pieces, and that is it. It's you cannot put something inside. You cannot like decide to like see these things off. It's always on when it's open your screen because it's made to talk to you, and it's made to to be silent when you put back in the library with any kind of library you have until of your life. It could be your grandfather things, or you can be yours. It's made to stay there forever.
I'll readdress the thing of the cover because yeah, when I was a child, and some of you here, I think, are getting older with me, it was, remember the little golden books for children, right? Yeah, we had those, I forgot, and this is the more adult form, you know, maybe, our adult golden book. For me, the cover, it has to have a sense of both privacy and not letting you in at the same time. So the younger woman playing, for me, it's a very innocent, in a way, image, no? What's more innocent than someone trying to play the piano, as I had tried? As Barbara told me, she went from piano to organ. The simplicity and the beauty of what does practice mean when one sits privately at a piano to touch it. And I didn't want many people on the cover, or I don't want to show you every image, but to me, this is the image. You know, this is the image.
Look amazing.
That's really great because a book has the intimacy. We all have a library, we have books that we love, and but then this is, as you're saying, here's this image, a beautiful image on the cover of an amazing book, and then it comes alive.
I would love to encourage questions.
Yep.
Because talking about being alive is that, and having been in prison for 2 years, and being with you, isn't it wonderful to have a conversation, to ask anything you want, anything, yeah?
It's alive here in the other room, but I cannot say it.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
it? It's there. You will.
After the questions, yes, absolutely. Yeah,
It's the first time I saw it.
yeah.
First time. It's funny to give birth to something and not see it. And you
Yeah,
say, oh, there it is.
Well, then do you want?
Oh.
Yeah, maybe we'll take one question and then you can go in and look. Yeah.
Did the pages have any text on them?
It looks like a book from outside, but actually there is no text inside, because the only things it's a balance between worlds. No, we wanted to make a book able to communicate. If I put more than a word, it will be something. It's too much. Something that you have to translate. Something that you have to interact. So, except for the embossed name of Dara and the title of the pieces, there is no single word, because it's the Dara art piece that communicates to you, and it's all talks forgive. It's all talks forgive you this feeling of like solid things, precious, but even special and unique. And it's a book with recovery. Now you will see it. So it's very special.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, always me in the corner.
What? What happened?
It's always me in the corner, just saying, I just want to add something very little, regarding what Salvatore was saying, is that as me and Barbara couldn't hold anything, and couldn't write anything about it, we decided with Salvatore to do another book with Dora style that contains the Barbara and my text about the work. So the Dara's book will go with a smaller book, of course less refined, let's say, with our texts. So, and there should be, I don't know if they're there, but just to say that this is something more that Salvatore has offered, as another little book with our text made by papers, any videos at all, So just our text that accompany the book.
Actually, there is some, on purpose, one reason I picked Arabesque to redo. There is writing. And there's a text, but the text is only from the diary of Clara Schumann. And they're not the most, they're heartfelt to read, what you went through a little bit, very, very high selects. And I like this idea that you still get a little text.
Some words.
Some words that hold it, and the words that hold it are from the woman. Yeah. Mm.
Tony?
So normally you say, I just wrote a 500-page book, right? And so you talk about pages. So how many minutes? Now we're going from how many pages to how many minutes is the book? Can you open it up?
Yeah.
It's in perpetual loop. It's never switch off, never switch on. When you open, it talks to you. So it's like it end up, it's a loop. It's a loop, yeah. Perpetual, and you cannot stop it, you cannot interact, you cannot do nothing. It just talks to you.
So how long is the loop?
It's more than 6 minutes, but it's...
I have tried my whole life of 45 years in the arts to do a longer piece. It's impossible for me. So I don't know why. It's 6 minutes, 30 seconds. There you go. But what a 6 minutes and 30 seconds, And they loop seamlessly, and I stayed with it.
So just to follow up on that question, so then if you open the book and you start with the loop and you close it, when you open it again, does it pick up where you left off, or does it start from the beginning?
Yes, no, it's when you stop it for a few moments, let's say it's a time of for 10 minutes, it's the last where you are. When you stay longer, it's restart from the starting after that 10 minutes. But actually, this is because we make our own screen, that it's the technology that is made behind, it's like a screen from 100 years ago. And we do something that because we wanted to do. It's not an iPad, glue it on it. It's a screen and with a river and with all the connection with no transistor, everything is very low technology and very hard to broken. And this is why we use something so simple, so basic, because it works. If you plug in a TV, a radio from your grandfather, it still works and still make music. If you lost your phone, maybe in 1 year, you cannot even change the plug-in and you cannot charge it anymore. So to avoid this, we say maybe to use the technology of 100 years ago and be sure that these things works, instead to do a screen from Apple or something. For this reason, there is no any single buttons to touch. There is nothing. It speaks to you, and it's very physical, but in the same way, it talks very loud. Even the speaker that are embedded inside, it talks to you, and it's like play the music because it's the most important part. And it's when you see a book talking to you like this, it's like even making even more special.
Is there any other precedent to this type of collaboration between an artist working with digital media and a book publisher?
This is sorry if I'm being.
Take your mask off.
Is there any precedent to this type of collaboration between an artist working in new media?
Sorry if I'm being a bit proud, but this is the first digital art book ever done in the history. It's the first time. So, and Dara is the only one. It's the first time in the history. So it's quite a revolution because technology is going very fast, but we need to carry on the information because we'll get lost, follow them, no? New way to make art is still here, but we still have to find a way to give this art to you and to enjoy it and to fall in love with it. So all this ancient gold book, it's made just protect all of this. Hope to be clear.
Your book reminds me of, it's Chrissy.
Oh, hi.
Reminds me of
Hi.
the lettristes in the 50s and artists and writers who were making non-cinematic forms of cinema as a kind of rejection of what they saw as the co-opting of the imagination by industrial cinema. So they were making books and calling them cinema. They were making poems and calling them cinema, and books were the form, the main carrier of these non-cinematic, there's non-cinema forms of the cinematic. And so it strikes me that in a sense you're doing the same thing, or what you're doing relates to that history, because you are, in this very corporate, large-scale, projective, immersive, streaming landscape, which is taken over our imaginations, whether it's on our phones or projected large. Commercially, they're really sort of taking over our brains. And so what you've done is almost create a secret, create the opposite. You make us look at something, that non-cinematic form of the cinema you've done with video. And you've created something that is intimate. You've kind of brought back an intimacy that is not controlled by corporations, because it's actually almost impossible to experience technological intimacy without being deeply manipulated, even for a second. So in a sense,
Without what?
I'm sorry. Being manipulated by corporations. Something pops up, but what you've created is a new relationship, in a sense, between the technological and not only analog, but the object.
I mean, this goes deeper, and this is almost for another time, but this effect of corporation. I think that artists, starting around the 90s, all of a sudden there was a lot of projection going on, and because it could be done, etc. And so the large screen was no longer determined always by corporation, although I would say that some artists working in media did start to develop a kind of cinematographic use of more advanced technology. But I think the idea here, as you're saying, is to preserve a concrete intimacy that is rapidly evaporating from the culture of repeated images. Thinking of Hito, I always think of as the poor image, this endless reproduction of imagery. And the reason we have it in this small room is it's going to say, for me, entering the room was like the Shroud of Turin or something, something very, going in, but it's not that either, no. It's, that's very much on my mind, how much do we, what can we do? What can we do as an independent voice, And how does fate work? Because I'm not independent. This is a collaboration. And without Salvatore's love of maintaining the history of bookmaking practice, and without the financials that it takes, this is difficult to bring the actuality of it together, you know. So maybe it's a good fate that leads to other, to dialogue for other people, to take this in a different way. Yeah. Yeah.
Should we take another question before we encourage you to go and look at the book? You need to see it. Okay. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Thank you.
It's trying to recognize people through the masks, actually, is kind of.
Bye to everybody.